Earlier this week, we saw one of the wildest firings in recent sports memory, and it got me thinking, what would it take for the Pittsburgh Steelers to finally part ways with Mike Tomlin? For those of you that are not the biggest F1 fans, you probably don't know who Christian Horner or Red Bull Racing are. But let me just make this abundantly clear. What Red Bull Racing did with Christian Horner would be the equivalent of Art Rooney going into Mike Tomlin's office in the middle of this upcoming season when the team is 6-3, 7-4, and saying, hey, Mike, it's been a great 2 decades or nearly 2 decades, but you can pack your bags and you can kick rocks because you're no longer our head coach. That is essentially what they did over in the UK with Red Bull Racing and Christian Horner. This is a guy who won multiple championships, still has the best driver in the sport, and still is in the title hunt contention. And it really got me thinking. In recent years, I mean, you could go back to the NBA this season where they fired 2 head coaches that were in the middle of a playoff run. You go back to the Philadelphia Eagles and what they did with Andy Reid, and then in recent years, Doug Peterson. There are a lot of parallels to look at where these teams who have historically been very good, maybe even great, they say enough is enough. This isn't good enough anymore. We have to get back to our standard. And that's where the Pittsburgh Steelers are right now. Mike Tomlin, for all of those who don't like him, it's hard to ignore the fact that it has been nearly 2 decades and they haven't lost. That is a very, very hard thing to do in the NFL. But for those who do doubt Mike Tomlin, who are tired of Mike Tomlin, there is truth to that as well. You cannot be the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the proudest franchises, not just in the NFL, but in the entire sporting world, and not have won a playoff game in a decade. You can't do that. You can't have not won a Super Bowl in nearly 2 decades at this point. That just doesn't work if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. So my question is, what would it take for them to start over? I personally think a complete bottoming out. I'm talking about the team earns a top 5, maybe even top 3 pick in the NFL draft. They are completely uncompetitive. They don't look like an NFL franchise. I think that's what it would take. And even then, I don't think that you see that Mike Tomlin's fired. I think that it's a mutual parting of ways. Mike Tomlin's going to retire. He does a year of TV. He comes back and, I don't know, coaches the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who knows? But the point being is, for the Pittsburgh Steelers and for Mike Tomlin, I really don't see a world where if they go 10-7 again, or even 9-8, and they make the playoff, where anything changes. Obviously, he just got a huge contract extension. Omar Khan just signed a contract extension this offseason. The status quo is going to be the status quo in Pittsburgh. But for how much longer? How much longer can Art Rooney look in the mirror, hear noise from his own family, for that matter, and say, man, this just isn't working? Obviously, those $100 million checks are going to roll in for the TV money. He's more than happy with that. But when do the Pittsburgh Steelers get back to their winning ways? If it's not soon, if we see them bottom out, if we see them continue to lose in the playoffs or not even make the playoffs, I think that heads are going to have to roll. That it's going to have to be a long, hard look in the mirror for Art Rooney, for Mike Tomlin, and for Omar Khan. When that happens, your guess is as good as mine. But if the Steelers are not competitive these next few years, I really believe wholesale change could be coming to Pittsburgh.